you drive to France from Canada? On this video, we're going to answer that question. And we're also going to bring up a few other topics you need to know if you want to drive to France from Canada. At the end of this video, I'm going to bring up one topic that you need to know and you need to do well in advance if you really want to get to France from Canada. Okay, let's get into the video. Well, we're almost to Fortune, Newfoundland, and this is where there's a ferry that goes over to St. Pierre and Miquelon. And if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the Miquelon Islands right there on the horizon. Now, St. Pierre and Miquelon Islands are part of France. And recently, there's a new ferry within the last, I can't remember how many years now, 2 or 3 years, where you can now take your vehicle over there. So technically, yes, you can drive to France from Canada. Welcome to Fortune. So if you see on the map, that's St. Pierre and the Miquelon Islands, and the international border is halfway between them in the water. So we're going to find our way to the ferry terminal, and I'm going to tell you all that's involved in getting across to France from Canada. Must be inspection services for getting on the ferry. What a beautiful day in Fortune. There's the ferry from Canada to St. Pierre, Miquelon.
And here's us.
And here's us, because we decided not to go. And I'll tell you why at the end of this video. But first, we're going to get into a few things about what it takes to actually get across on the ferry and go to France. So the first thing we had to do is, how do you get tickets to get on this ferry? Now, Lucinda did all the work, so I'll let her describe what that took.
Well, it's a pretty easy process online. The only problem is you can easily book your tickets and tickets for a car or truck, but not for a motorcycle. So I had to contact the office here in Fortune, which is the Newfoundland side, so that I wasn't paying for an international call to France, because that's where the St. Pierre office is. It's actually France.
Next, of course, because you're going to another country, of course you need your passports and you need to be double vaccinated. But it's no longer required to prove a negative test. Now, on the way back, you still have to do ArriveCan. So the next step is we had to find a place to stay overnight. So Lucinda did that work.
Okay, so once we knew that we were going, we looked up on all the different sites that you can look on to find places, and we found a great bed and breakfast in St. Pierre. And so we contacted them by email. Of course, we had to give credit card information to reserve our spot. So what I did was I just emailed, and she arranged a time to call me. And so I was able to give that information to her over the phone. The nice thing that came back with the confirmation from the hotel was a recommendation to go ahead and book with restaurants, because it is such a small place and there can be a lot of people come over on the ferry. I went ahead and booked those, but it was great that she gave the recommendations on the hotel confirmation.
Prices for all this, if you're interested. To get the two of us across on the ferry, Canadian was about $192. For the bike itself was about $95. I think the hotel was roughly about $150. Now, that's not the part that made us cancel this trip ultimately. The one thing that we had a problem with is what I want to give you guys some advice on. If you want to take your motorcycle across, it's getting insurance over there is the tough part. So we tried for the last couple of weeks. There's 2 different services to get vehicle insurance. Now, Canadian vehicle insurance will not cover you in France, and they won't let you into France if that's all you have. There's 2 services online, but they only have options for cars and trucks. So we tried multiple times to send emails for the motorcycle to find out. And after about 2 weeks of that work, the only answer we got back is if you don't have insurance by the time you go across, you can go to the port office and you can get insurance for your bike there at approximately $200 euro. All they charge you for is a month. You can't get insurance just for a day or 2. That was a little bit too much for us. And the last thing you have to think about, of course, is health insurance. A lot of the other things are pretty simple, but you don't want to have a problem while you're over there also without insurance. Anyhow, ultimately we had to make a decision and we chose not to go. Our time is so limited in Newfoundland and there's so many things we want to see here. We elected to save the 2 days and spend it elsewhere. Anyhow, those are the recommendations we have if you really want to take the trip over there, which I think would be a great trip to take if you plan far enough ahead and cross all of those steps.
Oh, and one more thing. Some of the correspondence might come back only in French, so it's a good idea to have that translator app on your phone if you don't speak French.
Like me.
Like him.
Okay, hopefully that's helpful for you if you ever decide to drive from Canada to France.
And we may do that someday, just not today.
Okay, take care. We'll see you on the next video. There, I think I made it. Here, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're going to do that. Well, Newfoundland steak.
Newfie steak. Newfie steak. Your first name? Sharon.